I'm Namuchana Mushabati. I work for Women and Law in Southern Africa. I'm the Programs Officer for the Legal, Sexual and Reproductive Rights Project. And Women and Law in Southern Africa advocates for women's social legal needs. And we do not only provide these needs to women alone, but we also provide to children, more, especially girls. In 2005, WLSA conducted some research on gender-based violence in our different sites. And this research actually showed that there were quite a lot of injustices that happened to women. For example, there are a lot of practicing of harmful practices against women. There were also maintenance issues, neglect to maintain children, neglect to maintain the spouse. So there were quite a lot of injustices being done towards women and children, and we thought then we needed to go a step further to actually resolve these injustices. So our next step was to go in the field and or in these same sites where we saw that there were a lot of injustices, and conduct legal education and training just to sensitize people on the laws that protect women and children. But then even after we conducted our sensitizations, we realized that that was not sufficient. We're not actually getting to the bottom of the problem. So we realized that we needed to put people in place in the communities that will actually help resolve cases. So that's why we actually decided to conduct trainings for paralegals and place these paralegals in the communities. A paralegal is a person that has basic knowledge or understanding of the law, and who actually provides legal aid and services to victims of gender-based violence or those whose human rights actually have been deprived. So there are some cases that the paralegals manage to resolve on their own without actually needing anybody's help, especially through mediation. And there are other cases which they actually need to refer to other institutions, especially cases that do need to go through the judicial process. So for instance, they refer cases to the police, especially criminal cases that would actually need to be presided over by the courts. And also they will need to work with the social welfare, where orphans actually do not have anywhere to stay, especially where maybe one of the perpetrators was actually the sole the breadwinner in the family, and the children have no one to take care of them. So it's actually a holistic approach when you look at the way they work, in that they've been trained, or they are able to network with other organizations, especially from the judicial sector, and they know exactly where to refer cases to. In Zambia, paralegals are not recognized by any act of parliament, which I think makes them feel like the work that they are doing is not being appreciated by the government. Our government has not trained any paralegals who actually provide paralegal services. The paralegals that we have are trained by civil society organizations, and most of them are volunteers. So I think having a bill in place, or to legislate the services of the paralegals, or recognizing paralegals by national legislation, I think would be a very vital step in actually recognizing the services that paralegals actually offer to the people. Lawyers, yes, do quite provide legal aid and services, but they do not know the problems that people go through in these rural areas or in the communities. And having paralegals based in those communities is actually better than having lawyers, even in as much as we know that lawyers are actually found in the urban areas and like in the rural areas. So I think the next step for us, even as we get back home, is to dialogue with government, so that government can actually recognize the services that paralegals play, or the role that paralegals play under some form of legislation. I think that's the most important thing.